Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back, everyone. We're starting it off with Dixie on a weekly time frame. We've just got the large sell the news event occurred for Bitcoin due to ETF being passed. And now we are going to basically see what we should be expecting in the next week since all the over leveraged people are probably been washed out. So moving forward, Dixie, what we were talking about in the last video, which I'm going to try to link to this video, which I've been pointing out to everyone for the last few days, watch this video. We were pointing out Dixie was putting in its local low, and if Bitcoin and Dixie's inverse relationship stood, after putting in the low here and looking to go up, Bitcoin will be putting in a top and looking to go down. That's literally what I said a few days ago. It's starting to play out. Dixie on the weekly close right now, looking like it's putting in a doji, and that is okay. I would have preferred it to be above the 103 so I can be like, okay, next week we could go to 103.50 to 104. But right now we're kind of in right at the resistance on the weekly time frame, okay? So next week I'm looking for us to at least test into that same level of that 102.77, 103. And then if we get rejected, then I can say, okay, we tried, the doji is playing out, blah, 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 blah. We can go test into the bottom of the doji. If the doji bottom breaks, we can go touch into 101.70-ish, okay? That's what I'm looking for right now. Until this 100 level is broken and we have a weekly open and close underneath the level of 100 flat, I am not looking for Dixie to go lower, and I'm not gonna say that inverse relationship will kick in for Dixie and Bitcoin, where if Dixie loses 100, Bitcoin is gonna break 50K and go to all-time high, etc. That's not what I'm looking for in the future. I'm looking for Dixie and Bitcoin to move in sync because now Dixie is becoming a huge market cap potential in the future. And eventually, if it becomes a global currency, then it's going to be in that basket. So anyway, back to today and tomorrow. Weekly, we can't tell anything. I'm going to go to daily to give you guys a little bit of a clue. Weekly RSI definitely has room to the upside. So next week, we can look for some topside action. Now, this is where things get interesting. This is the daily. We were in that piece of crap weekly doji. The daily was dojing day after day after day. EU and Dixie have been doing this sideways chop for the last few days, and it sucks, but it is what it is. Right now, we finally are. We've had bullish divergences. We were bottoming out on a daily, on weekly. We're just showing that this week with this doji, last week with this upside. What we need to see is this red EMA cross that yellow EMA, giving you the first indication of yes, downside local bottom is in. The cross of the red and the yellow is going to put in the first pivot confirmation for the next leg up. The leg up is going to first test into these wicks that we got rejected from this green EMA, which is a 55 EMA, over here at that 103. The one thing I don't like, yes, the red EMA is crossing the yellow EMA as a good sign for upside continuation, but the green EMA crossing underneath the purple and all those other colors is showing you, hey, you still have a little bit of grinding to do at this level sideways, hence why you got this bullshit going on with this chop, okay? We still have room to go sideways. Since this candle is a doji, you have to encompass the order block from the bottom of the doji at that 101.91 to the top of the doji at 103 whatever. And we need to see a break, a clear break of the candle body of on top of that, on top of the 55 EMA over here at 103 whatever, to go test into the 200 EMA, the purple EMA, to see if we're going to actually do the breakout and look for the highs. Or if we're going to find resistance here, push back underneath the red EMA and lose that, and then go to under that 100 like I was talking about before. I already have this alert here at the 100 sec. Like, hey, if this drops down, I better remove all my shorts. Yes, things might dump with Dixie to the downside, but when Dixie stops, that inverse relationship will kick in. Right now, we're doing this sideways chop because that inverse relationship with Dixie and Bitcoin is not really doing anything, but Dixie is showing you it's bottoming out. Bitcoin did show you it's topping out, and now we are slowly seeing that inverse relationship come back. So just be aware of that moving forward. We are done talking about Dixie. We're going to weekly, and we're going to show you on Bitcoin now what we can see on Bitcoin to show us, hey, a local top was coming in and whatnot. Now, another trick a lot of people, I guess, did not know. When you look at the chart like this, right? You're trying to figure out if you're going up or down. Maybe you can't tell, like this doji and all that, blah blah blah. What you can do is you go to your scale over here on the right click, and you go to invert scale right here. If you do that, it will reverse the chart and it gets a little bit of mental biases out of the way. Now you can look at this, be like, is this bearish? Is this going to go down? Or does this look like, oh, you know what? EMAs are claiming the 55. EMAs are trying to claim above this level here, which they are doing. Now that the EMAs are this way, it's supposed to be looking for a continuation to this level. The first resistance was the 200 EMA. After the 200 EMA resistance is claimed, you're going to get your retest of the reversion to the mean where you broke down this white line over here. So, I mean, inverse, it's looking like Dixie wants to go down, okay? And that's one of the things that you can use as a bias breaker. I have my alert set. Dixie is not a stock or a crypto, so it doesn't move like a stock and a crypto. For Dixie to come down to these levels, it would be global event because every freaking country's currency is going to be taking a hit. It's going to be bond yields, Japanese yen, dollar, euro, all of those things will officially get slapped left and right. It's going to put a turmoil in those global economic currencies and domestic numbers. It's gonna mess with shit. Okay, so that's why it's like I know this looks like this, but I have to assume this rounding bottom is actually an accumulation and it's looking to actually come back this way. So this is the reason why I'm saying that is more likely is because this is Dixie. If this was any other asset, I can't make those assumptions because, yeah, it can go down, it can go up, it can go freaking anywhere it wants. But since this is a currency, a global currency and global markets, the whole world would have to do something for it to occur, like a nuke being dropped, a world war, a US completely shitting on the dollar, etc., or the euro completely getting decimated due to inflation. Dixie is 50% of the euro. So just keep all that in mind. Okay, let's go now to Bitcoin on a weekly time frame. I know I am ranting a lot. I'm sorry. I just want you guys to have these relationships in mind moving into the future in this year, so you are better at assessing whatever asset you're trying to trade. If you're going to pay attention to these videos, I want to make sure I give you guys as much valuable information as possible, as quickly and as straightforward as possible, so I'm not like any other YouTuber. I can kind of just, give it to you as it is. Here's the weekly on Bitcoin, okay? You saw that we were above the last weekly high. What I was saying is, as we were going sideways here, as the Bollinger Band was in the overbought condition, until the highs are taken, you won't know if the reversal is coming. You finally had the high wick taken the day after the ETF announced. The top was at 49. The whole time I was telling you guys I was looking at this doji for an SFP at the level of around 48,300. So I was about like $700 off for that wick, and that was because of low liquidity, short squeeze kind of situation that happened. Liquidity was grabbed, and you instantly took the doji's bottom over here at 44.3, and that was another warning I gave you guys. Everyone yesterday, remember I said 44.3, you have any kind of candle open and close underneath it, you will get a fast move to the downside. And then that's exactly what we got. We're coming right to our little support over here at 41.3. Today's daily close, if you close under 41.3, I'm sorry to say you will be looking for a move probably into $36,000 area. The more you go sideways here on the weekly opening closes, that 36 target will come higher and higher and higher. But you can't fool yourself at this point to assume that We are not going to grind out that 41.3 area all next week and possibly even wick it. You have room on the RSI to go test a little bit lower. Usually after overbought conditions, I like to see the tap of the 21. And that's just me being me. So I don't know what's going to happen. But if you look at these overbought conditions and when they come down, look left. What the heck happens? You're above the red EMA. You come to the red EMA. 1 week, you grind the red EMA. You can't hold it. Next week, straight fucking capitulation. Okay? And I usually look for 21. This mother, they're just, the bots are doing what they're doing to go right to liquidity. These lines are levels of liquidity. 9 EMA is liquidity, but 80% like that, okay? Like 10, 20%, sorry. This is like 50%. This is around 80%. This is like 90%. 200 EME is like 99%. Like that's like after that, it's basically price discovery. Okay, so right now, your price discovery above the 90 EMA is into resistance. Once resistance slapped it down, you went right back into support, which is 90 EMA. If this support gets lost, which I have very, 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 very strong inclination, no matter what happens at this point next week, I already told every one of the members two 2 weeks is going to be grinding the lows. This was week one. Now the way that the reaction we got, I have to give it another 2-3 weeks. I might even give it the whole damn month. Okay, and this is something that I highly advise you guys go to the higher time frame and look at it. I'm not going to bore you with my analysis on the monthly, but for this weekly, okay, this whole week, this closes in 2 days. All you have to worry about is by Sunday, you need to close above 41.3. If you lose 41.3 by Sunday at 8 p.m. and at Sunday at 8 p.m. if you open underneath 41.3, you might see a fast move down all the way to 36 and under. And that's for weekly time frame. Now I'm going to go to daily time frame. I'm going to give you a quick analysis and then I'm going to get onto ETH. We have not even looked at ETH. It's already 12 minutes into this freaking video. Here is daily analysis, okay? We are on the 55 EMA. This is a good area to find some support on a daily time frame if the weekly wasn't so bearish. So the weekly is looking for support on a higher time frame. This is one of the levels. If you lose it, then you got 38.8K and then 36 on a weekly and then 34.7 on the daily. These levels is like the BART that sweeping high of the bar going up, 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 all the over leveraged longs are in. And then as you go down here, you're getting them scared and worried. They're buying the dip. Now they're extremely over leveraged. The next push down is gonna push out all the over leveraged people buying the dip. And then you get one more push out of everyone who's trying to buy that dip. After 3 legs down, you get the reversion to the mean, at least dead cat bounce into where we broke down into, and you're going to come back down, test that support, grind it out, make an inverse head and shoulder, and then maybe come back out and above. That is about 14 days away, is my clue, and that is basically the end of the month. So the monthly close is next 2 weeks is where we want to see where this monthly closes, and then we could go from there. Yeah, I gave you the supports to the downside. If you guys are thinking you're going up and higher, okay, I'm going to give you the bullish case. The second you have an open and close above 44K, you have a possibility to go and sweep the highs. First step is 44K, then you got to break above 45K. 45K is a huge psychological number. It is going to be the resistance moving forward for a while because it's the shoulder. You see this right shoulder? Here's your head. 44 to 45K is going to be the right shoulder for this head and shoulder part pattern to come down, make a little parallel channel here, bull flag, whatever you want to call it. As it's going down, taking out all the over leverage people, other traders are going to be accumulating it for that reversion to the mean trade for the dead cat bounce. But levels, levels, levels. If I show you the fibs, you'll understand what I mean. That's for members. If you are interested in joining the members, by the way, or at least joining the Discord group and just chit-chatting or throwing charts at each other to, talk and, pick my brain. The link to the Discord server is in the description of this video below, alongside all the other affiliate services that I use and recommend. So please do feel free to join and use those services. They help the channel grow. So thank you so much. And back to this. As I was saying, after you get that 45 open and close with the daily, you can go look to test into the doji. The reason why I'm saying 45K is psychological resistance, but really it's the bottom. 45.6K is the real resistance. And a smart guy like me shouldn't just talk dumb shit. I will put an alert. That way, if that alert hits and Dixie alert hits, these are ways for you to know when to move quick. So if that Bitcoin alert hits, I should be very, very careful of my short, or I should be looking to enter a short if I see weakness the next touch. And I will know what to do as I see Dixie. So if the dead cat bounce plays out, if US markets are looking like shit on Monday and everything is looking like downside, well then if Monday morning we come and test into this due to CME, we can look for a short and then ride it back down. Speaking of, I'm done with the daily. We're done talking about this. I'm moving on to ETH. But before I go do that, I would like to point out the CME. And let this populate real quick. Sorry for the delay. I'm going to pause this to get a coffee. Okay. So Bitcoin right now is at 42,600. CME closed at 43,690. We have $1,000 gap to the upside. Do not be gung ho about shorting the bottom. That gap, we have to see how that matures on Sunday. Okay. ETH is at parity 2572, 2550, $25. We don't give a shit. That $1,000 is a little bit more significant. Okay. So just be aware that if people were trying to play arbitrage, they would be buying their spot on Bitcoin exchanges, taking it in their hand, depositing on the CME, and selling it for cash, and they would be making about $1,000 premium. And if you subtract all the fees, maybe they're walking away with like $500 to $600 or $800 after all the fees, after doing all that. So there are people around the world that are actually doing that. They're buying spot from other exchanges or OTC or whatever, depositing it onto the fucking exchange and selling it because they're getting extra $1,000 parity. And until that parity, until that premium comes to parity, until the prices match, they will continually do that. That is literally their business. They are making $800 per coin, buying it from like fucking some exchange in China or something and selling it on CME because of the premium difference, So on those countries that it's hard to access, the premium will be even higher. And then they're going to be, the premium is higher, the discount will be higher. As in during dumps, their price is even lower. So they will be buying it for cheap, bringing it to CME and selling it and making even bigger chunk. And that's how the exchanges, equalize the reversion to the mean trade, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, now let's go to ETH. ETH was the biggest star of the show. All the liquidity when it was rotating out of Bitcoin went to ETH and alts, and then after that, it actually shitted out of ETH the day right after, which was unfortunate, but ETH is still holding up pretty good. If you go look at that video I set the last couple of days ago, like 3 days ago, I was looking at ETH's resistance around 2,600-ish. That's basically where we got maybe like $100 higher, and then we got slapped down right from there. So ETH held out very good, and I'm sure all the stakers that are in ETH are very happy. Hopefully some of them got some of their liquidity out. Give me a second while this loads. I'm gonna get some coffee. Okay, so here is ETH on the weekly. What you can see right here is we are still bullish engulfing, still got room to the upside. I can't be bearish on ETH at this point. Even if this weekly closes like this next week, I'm looking for continuation. I think ETH will get to the $2,900, $3,000 target with a one-to-one extension of the low before Bitcoin can even take out the high. I would be very, very, very cautious on shorting ETH over Bitcoin. And that is what I'm going to say about this. I do think this can actually, it makes sense why it found resistance here. But if I was a betting man, I would think ETH is going to get to around 3,000 before real resistance. So just be aware of that. If ETH comes down to the support, which is 2230, it's a buying opportunity. Keep that in mind that you better be ready for this freaking level, because if we get the weekly close and the weekly opens and it actually becomes a bearish engulfing because Bitcoin goes to 36 or something, that is the only reason why ETH would also, break down like that. So just be aware, 2250 is a buying opportunity, and I will be even greedier, and I will wait for the 2000-ish, 2050. I was originally looking for 2050. Now I can hire it to like 2175 to 2100-ish. So I will be waiting for this because I'm probably not gonna try to short next whole week. I will be waiting for where I can find the support to long it, because I understand people are like bearish and whatnot, but the bull run is here, in my opinion, and we will eventually take out the highs. All we're doing right now is shaking out the over leveraged people who are so freaking gung ho about front running the ETF. They're all got to get, all that open interest is going to get washed out, and then you're going to see normal people actually pick up this asset. The fucking ETF just opened. All those inflows are about to start. You guys can't be bearish on one day of it selling off. That's just a sell the news event or somebody taking profit from, maybe they bought all the way at 1500 and they want to take some profit at 2500. Can you blame them for almost a 50, $1,000 gain? You can't blame him on that. So that's what I'm looking at weekly. Weekly looks pretty strong and bullish. If it comes to 2250, it's worth a long scalp. Aside from that, I'm gonna go to a daily time frame here. Sorry, daily. Everything on the chart, all the indicators, everything is free, guys. This bottom indicator, everyone always asks me, it's an RSI divergence. And then what I have here is EMAs. That's all I have. This is volume profile, and then this little line is the moving average on the volume. I think it's like 9 MA. Just to say that, hey, when the volume bar is above the 9 MA, I should be watching it as a trending move. And then when I see a big wick, I know that a reversion to the mean trade is possible. So when you get a volume candle upside of this, usually after it follows with selling. So I kind of like to see when I get above the threshold volume, you get a big sell candle underneath it. It's just something that I noticed. I'm not saying you can trade it. I'm not saying do anything. I'm just saying like, hey, when you get a big volume candle, after that, usually it goes to the opposite direction to catch people who are like shorting the bottom of it and whatnot. Anyway, on the daily time frame, you are finding your support here at 2400. You can see that 24 is very, very solid, strong strength because of these equal highs that you just broke out. You're making a little triangle bull flag right here, waiting to consolidate and continue the breakout. I would not be fucking trying to short this shit. And another thing is you don't have no bearish case on this asset until you have daily open and close underneath 2400. If the daily does not close underneath 2400, you better be careful about shorting it. And that's on the daily time frame. Weekly, after weekly close, you have to assess to see if that doji that we got on like that wick is going to act as like the force of it to basic the wick is to show you how hard it was sold into and to show you the momentum right now is being pushed to the downside. So we want to see next week if that wick that we're going to close with is going to be the direction that we're going to for the next weekly candle, because it's pushing us down, etc., etc., etc. You'll know right away the second you have this open and close underneath 2400 though, because ETH right now is holding the market cap up. If Bitcoin is dumping and then ETH starts dumping too, you are going to see a lot of your altcoins shit out, and there's like about a trillion mark. I mean, the altcoin market cap is pretty big, and that's going to get a little bit of slap as well because a lot of that money is due to ETH, and if ETH starts selling off, you're going to see a lot of those alts sell off as well. So just be aware of that moving forward. Daily is looking good. We are on this solid support. Unless this gets broken down with a 4-hour open and close underneath 2400, I'm not really concerned. And between 2400 and 2350, you have solid support. It's really under 2350 that you have to concern yourself for a continuation to the downside. And right now, as you were seeing this, all these EMAs are actually trying to push up. So it's basically showing you this is all support underneath them. Even if you dump, you're not gonna just butter through all these lines unless there's some huge event on a Saturday. Okay, you're not gonna butter through these lines. More than likely, you're gonna go sideways chop. This line will be the bottom. The top will be the wicks. If you want a scalp, like if I was scalping this, I would go to like a lower time frame, knowing that hey, 2400 is my support. Cool. I will open up like I don't know, 15-minute, whatever. Here's my risk, right? This 2400 line. I have it already marked here. If I'm going to scalp this, okay, I can try to scalp knowing that this is where they were all trying to defend. If I can get an entry on 2510, I can try to scalp along with a stop loss underneath 2466. And then if that stop hits, I can be patient for this 2378 to 2400 area to hit and then attempt another long. The reason why I'm trying to say that, hey, I would try to take a long off this liquidity grab here at 25 is because you're already grinding at the bottom of the RSI, and then you want to basically, once you grind at the bottom, then you touch resistance here at the midline. That's what these stars are. And then after that, if you claim it with like, let's say a 15-minute open and close above the midline, then your natural path is the top of the Bollinger Band. Since you're doing on a 15-minute, you can't expect the move to be that great. But what I would be looking for is a tap of a 200 over here at 25.50. So from 25 to 25.50, $50 move on ETH. That's a pretty decent trade if you can get it. And that's if this higher lows allow you to actually break down to grab it. If the higher lows are doing